what is going to be India's priority in this G7 summit? The Prime Minister is going to be there. The elephant in the room, of course, for India is the support that the previous regime extended to Khalistanis. We saw that social media is replete with pictures and images of Khalistanis marching the streets in Canada in a number of places. How is India likely to approach this extremely sensitive topic that Justin Trudeau, in his last outing, botched up?
Right, absolutely. You're talking about protests, and there have been areas that have been designated by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and that's where these protests are taking place, in Calgary, in Banff, as well as in Canmore. And these protests have been restricted to these areas, but there is no certainty that these protesters will not violate these restricted areas and come onto the streets, as has been seen in the last 2 days, and in fact more ever since the announcement of the G7 summit, and particularly Prime Minister Narendra Modi's acceptance of the invite and arrival that takes place later today in the evening. The key agenda for the bilateral that takes place between the Indian Prime Minister and the Canadian counterpart is going to be about trade and investment. Remember, we have elevated our relationship with Canada in the past years to the level of a strategic partnership. There were already talks before the relationship between India and Canada nosedived, and there were talks of reaching further accelerating the trade and investment relationships between India and Canada. It's unfortunate that in the year 2024, the goods and services that were exported from India to Canada have reduced significantly. Something that is similarly being seen from the Canadian exports coming into India, that is about just a little over $8 billion, which is much less than the usual trade that happens between both countries. Again, another big issue is going to be raised about the international students. 41% of the international students that arrive in Canada for higher education are Indians, and their numbers have also reduced in wake of the Canadian government's policy on immigration issues. So that's going to be another big thing, and of course the Khalistani issue, and of course the Nijjar issue, where Khani has made a statement saying that the law enforcement agencies between both the countries, India and Canada, are working with regards to a full-fledged investigation. And that's what he said. And talking about the Khalistani issue, yes, it is going to be raised as well by the Prime Minister.
All right, Megha, really appreciate you joining us all the way. Of course, we are going to be seeing more of you. We're going to be hearing more of you in the next 24 hours. We'd like to thank all my guests also for